Hi guys, welcome back to my vlog. So this week's video is going to be labour stories. It's a little bit late just because on Sunday it was Cole's second birthday, which normally would be my recording day, but obviously I didn't get around to it. So let's start from the beginning, which is Christopher. So I went into labour early hours of the 24th of April 2017. I actually just woke up in pain, but it wasn't like a massive pain. It was a very, very small pain, but with the amount of like the frequency it was happening and things like that, I knew that I was in labour. Like I knew it wasn't Braxton Hicks, I knew it was labour. So what I did after about an hour or so, I phoned up the maternity ward and just basically explained and said that I know that I don't need to be going anywhere until, you know, it starts getting faster and hurt a lot more. But I just wanted to know sort of what to do whilst it was gradually going to get there. So I'd phoned them up and obviously they just said to time your contractions and the time in between your contractions, just so you know that, you know, when you get into about 5 minutes apart, you need to make your way down to the hospital. Now obviously with it being a 3-day labour, that didn't happen for me, so I was just in I mean, it was a very mild pain, but it was still painful enough for me to not get any sleep for the next 2 days, and it did get gradually worse and worse. So it just got to a point where I couldn't bear it anymore and I had to go in. But unfortunately, I still wasn't dilated enough. So I had to stay in overnight because I wasn't going home. I was in way too much pain. I wasn't going home at all. So we're in the room and I asked for the diamorphine because obviously it's labour and I needed it. And after a little bit, probably not even half an hour, that started working. That was some of the best stuff ever. And basically I mean, it didn't take the pain away, but it took the edge off of it, so I could get like the tiniest bit of sleep that I could get. And obviously the feeling as well was nice, but it was just unreal because I knew anyway, like I was in sort of some euphoric state because I knew I was going to have a baby in the next, 24 hours or so. So I was just like in such an amazing mood. So we'll skip to that morning. I was getting very, very bad pains again, to the point where I'd be crying. And the nurse actually came in and she checked me. Well, before she checked me, she said that if I'm not dilated enough, they'll basically have to send me home. And I, at this point, started freaking out, like I can't go home, like I nearly started crying. So she shouldn't have really said that. It did stress me out, but luckily that wasn't the case. I was just dilated enough to go into the maternity suite. So some time goes by waiting to get me transported to maternity suite, get me a room, and then the pain got gradually worse. Well, actually, I would say more quickly than gradually. But all I could do were have the diamorphine one more time and just burn a hole in the floor. I was just walking everywhere because I just couldn't settle. I was sliding up, down the wall because I just sort of given up. I mean, they broke my waters as well because my waters didn't break themselves, so they had to do it, and they put this thing in you, and it basically when they're popping it, it feels like you've got a water balloon inside you, like it's that kind of, I don't know, like if you pull out a water balloon, that's what I felt, but inside. And then obviously it burst, it went everywhere. I was quite shocked at the amount because obviously you see it in the films and it's not even nearly as much. But yeah, that happened. And after that, it was just a case of waiting for the epidural, and I was waiting for what felt like forever. And get this, it's because for some reason, I don't know, I think they changed the numbers. So the anaesthetist, who is supposed to be doing people's epidurals, had changed their number They were trying to reach him for God knows how long. I was in some pain. The gas and air wasn't doing anything. The diamorphine wasn't doing anything at this point because it had just gone way too far. Especially after, like I say, they've broken my waters, because then it just starts moving very, very quickly. And the faster it moves, the more painful it is. That's just how it is. And yeah. So the epidural finally got there. I don't really like... I know this is going to sound weird, but it's like my soul actually left my body, because there was no way that I'd have been able to sit in that position for, those couple of minutes whilst they were putting that needle in my back. Like, I literally sat there. I remember leaning on Andy and I just left my body. I just don't remember that part at all. Like, it's just gone. I were gone. And then afterward, I think they actually did the spinal block with that one, because that one started working straight away as soon as they put it in. All right. And basically, from then on, it were a smooth ride. After the epidural, I just sort of enjoyed the rest of my labour, got to know my midwife a little bit, talked to her, and yeah, and obviously Andy were there for me and everything. Like, to be honest, actually, Andy was really, really good, a lot better than I expected. I mean, I knew that it were going to be good, because like when we'd be watching Unborn every minute and the man were being annoying to the woman for whatever reason, even if it were just like small annoying stuff, he were like, does that guy want to die? Like, he understands the situation and when you shouldn't be silly, basically, because it just... Obviously, when you're in labour and you're about to have a baby come out of you don't want any stupidness. Like, obviously you can have a joke and a laugh, but when you're purposely being aggravating just because you're bored, there's no need for it. And luckily I didn't have to put up with that, because he's been brilliant all 3 times, and I'm sure he'll be brilliant with this one as well. He's been really helpful through all my labours. So I had my midwife like all throughout the morning up until like, I think it's about like 7, half 7. And then they do the changing shift. So I got another midwife, which I also really liked, and I was with her for about, just over an hour, because I gave birth at, 8 minutes past 8. So yeah, basically she were really good, tried to help me give birth, but like at that point, because I'd been in labour for 3 days, I was just so tired, and I was struggling just to push, basically. And so with that delivery I did need help with forceps, and the cord was around his neck as well, which is all, it's very common, so I wasn't really worried about that one. I thought, they'll be able to sort that out very quickly, and they did, and it was fine and everything. Now, the afterbirth isn't such a beautiful thing. Like, after you give birth, you pretty much give birth again to your placenta. Now, every time I've given birth, I've just had the injection to get the placenta out without me even noticing, basically. So it just pretty much falls out of you. I did happen to look at the wrong time, like I always do, and saw it anyway, even though I didn't want to. But yeah, it just sort of falls out of you after you have the injection. You don't even feel it. Well, actually, you might feel it if you don't have the epidural, because I think I felt it slightly on the last time, but other than that, you don't feel it. And it's not like having to actually give birth again, but I would recommend having the injection just so that you don't have to put in any more work, sort of thing, because I think after having a baby, you've probably done enough pushing for the day. So let's jump forward the next year to Cole's labour. Now, his labour, I was only in for the day. I just woke up one morning and I thought, well, to be honest, I thought it was Braxton Hicks, because I couldn't really remember from the first time whether it was like a dull pain or a sharp pain, and I was experiencing the dull pain, which obviously found out later that it was labour. But yeah, I just wasn't sure, I couldn't remember, and I just basically had to wait and see. It did get like to the point where, because I actually thought, right, I'll phone the maternity place, which I did, and she said it's probably labour, but you don't need to come in yet, sort of thing. And I'm like, oh well, I'd just prefer to get checked out anyway. So I thought to myself, I'll do my makeup, I'll get dressed, do my hair, get 2 buses down to the hospital, get to about 15 minutes to half an hour later, I can't get dressed because every time I go to put my underwear on, I end up curling up in a ball on the bed because I'm in that much pain. I couldn't think. I didn't know what to do, so I ended up phoning my mum, and her and my friend were just going to sort of, a friend were just going to drop my mum off to sort of look after me, because at that point, when I'd last spoke to her, I was fine, I was thinking about just going down to hospital. But then when my mum actually got here, I was like, I need to go to the hospital, like, now, because I'm in so much pain. So I went to the hospital, and then I can't actually remember whether I got sent home or not. I don't think I did that time. I think I just had to like walk around the hospital or whatever else until I got into the maternity suite. But I just remember being in so much pain. I don't think I went home that day. So we're in the maternity suite anyway. One of the times when they were checking how far dilated I was, they she put her fingers in like they normally do, and then she was like, oops, I've just burst your waters, basically. So she was like, I'll just leave these in here so it doesn't all just like gush out at once. I was like, okay. So so that was just slowly happening. It was a little bit awkward, but you do kind of lose like all your dignity when you're in that position in labour. I mean, you can think that you're going to be, you know, all covered up and you don't want anyone to see you and all this, but at the time, you just don't care. You're just naked, basically, and you obviously they see everything, and they've got a job to do. So you just don't. It's just one of those things that you have to put up with, and it's not too bad, especially when you get such a nice thing at the end of it. So yeah. I forgot to mention as well that when my waters got broke accidentally the second time, I had the epidural already, so I wasn't in like any pain or any more pain after my waters did break. Luckily I did get the epidural in a lot less time than I did the first time around, because the first time were a bit of a joke. I mean, it still felt like a while that I hadn't had it for, because obviously I was in pain, but it's just... I wish that I'd have had the diamorphine the second time as well. I mean, they didn't refuse me it, but they did talk me out of having it when I knew that I wanted it. And the only reason I'm saying it is because the time waiting for the epidural is a really bad time. Like, you can't sit, you can't stand, you can't lay down. You're just in so much pain, you don't physically know what to do. I was just throwing myself around, acting like crazy. I mean, nothing compared to the last time, but this was only the second. So anyway, I'm laid in my bed, all relaxed, had the epidural, my waters have been broken, I'm just waiting for things to start moving. And again, it happened like the first time. I had my midwife all day, and then they changed. So basically I was with them again for like an hour, because Cole was born at 8:15. Anyway, it's time to start pushing at like, God, I don't know when. And yeah, I start pushing. I don't think I can do it, and obviously I can. I mean, my mum, Andy, and the midwife are all around the bed like cheerleaders, going, yes, you can do it, you can do it. And I'm just like, I can't do it, I need help, I need forceps and blah blah. And they're like, no, you can't compare your first experience to this one, you just need to push, keep pushing, listen to me, trust me. And sure enough, I did, and eventually it were out. Sorry, I've been demoted to the bedroom because the boys are up now, and obviously Andy's home, so I think I actually prefer the lighting up here anyway. Anyway, so something super scary happened when Cole was born. I mean, it is common, but I didn't know that at the time. I just thought, you know, something was going to happen to my baby. So basically, it'd come out, it took a breath, and then didn't take any more breaths. So they had to use oxygen on him to sort of get him going, because he did stop breathing. His heart never stopped, but his breathing did, and obviously his oxygen, all the levels were just slowing down, his heartbeat was getting slower, everything. So they needed, there were loads of people in the room, I don't even know how many there were, but I was just looking to my mum like, is everything going to be okay? And she had like the best poker face ever, because she was like, yeah, everything's going to be okay, but she was so scared. So we were just watching everyone sort of work on Cole, and then eventually you hear this cry. My mum has a little look at him and that, and then she leaves the room. She was really upset. I didn't actually know, she didn't let on at all until way after the birth and everything, like, but she ended up phoning her friend crying because she was so scared, and she thought that she might have been lying to me by telling me that he's going to be alright, because she didn't know if he was going to be, but she was just obviously thinking, please don't let my baby lose her baby, you know. So yeah, it will have been a really bad time, but luckily I were calm, because I didn't catch on that she thought anything bad was going to happen. I just thought, you know, everything's okay, I'll just watch, I'll just wait and let them do the job, and I did, and he's fine. They did a brilliant job. After all that, it was quite a phlegmy baby, and to be honest, all the babies in the ward were really phlegmy, but the difference between Cole and the other ones were I could hear all the other ones coughing it up. Cole was having like trouble, so I'd always have to roll him over or pick him up straight away and pat his back, let him get it out. But that didn't last for long. Yeah, everything's fine. I think that's all I can really say about Cole's labour and birth. But I mean, in the morning when the midwife came to talk to me, she just casually mentioned resuscitation, and I was like, what? Because obviously when you think of resuscitation, you think someone's died to have resuscitation, but that wasn't the case. It was just what they call it for when they do stop breathing, because his heart did not stop, so he didn't die, but he was resuscitated. Yeah, I think that's it. Okay, so now let's jump to Miss Amelia. Basically, I woke up, it didn't start straight away, didn't the pain, but it wasn't long after I woke up, and it was early in the morning. I wasn't sure I was in labour, but I was like 95% sure. So I just said to Andy, I think you should stay home today just in case, because I'm getting these really little pains, but they are like every so often they're spaced out and they do keep happening. So I mean, it might be Braxton Hicks, but I think, you know, with it being so close to my due date, you should just stay home anyway, because I mean, I've never gone even up to my due date. Christopher was born, two weeks and 2 days early, something like that. So yeah, I mean, Cole was born a bit less than that. It was like a week, like 8 days or something. So gradually, I mean, it was gradually, but it did happen like a bit faster than I'd say the second time. Definitely faster than the first time. But yeah, it got really bad with the pain. I really couldn't bear it. We went to hospital. Well, we dropped the boys off at the grandma's, and then we went to the hospital. We did get sent home the first time, and to be honest, when I did get there, my contractions did start to lessen, but they were still there. So I'd gone home for, I don't think it was long, to be honest, before I was back. Then we set off again. That time I was not going home because I was in way too much pain. So yeah, I'm actually really annoyed about the care of me well, I don't know whether I'd call it care actually, but I'm mad about what happened during this labour, because normally, like I said before, they'll use the fingers to tell how far dilated you are, and this time they didn't do that. She used this, well, it can't be in glass, this plastic thing, this clear plastic thing, and she had this student midwife with her as well, and they were like, oh, can I just, can she have a look basically as well, because she's learning. I'm like, oh yeah, that's fine, they have to learn somewhere, so yeah. And then she sticks this plastic thing in me, and they're both like, hey. So they're both like that, just down there, and she's like, your cervix is still fully fake, you're still not dilated one little bit. Now, I mean, I'm not going to say she doesn't know what she's doing, because she's obviously got in a job somehow. She can't be, she can't have been there without being qualified in some sort of way. But oh my God, every time I had her and she stuck that thing in me, no dilation, cervix fully fake. I was like, I'm not going home, I'm in too much pain. They gave me diamorphine, and I was really upset because I could feel like the highness of the diamorphine, so I knew it were working, but it literally it took none of the pain away. And when I say that there were no space in between my contractions, there was no space, not even 1 second. I was screaming. There were some demon noises coming out of me. I was like, oh, like, it's not bad. There was some higher pitched noises coming out of me, but there were a lot of deep ones. So at some point, obviously this lady's gone home, and she'd only texted me about 15 minutes before this lady came in, this other midwife came in and was like, basically, like, she shouldn't be making those noises, there's something not right here. So she checked after eventually getting me onto the bed, because obviously with no space between my contractions, I didn't know what to do. I could barely stand. Like, I couldn't even get myself into a laying down position. Like, they're both saying, you need to lay down, you need to lay down, you need to lay down. Like, I can't lay down, I can't lay down, I can't lay down. Like, they don't listen to you, they do just tell you and tell you. I do think that sometimes they do need to understand that the amount of pain you're in will stop you from being able to do things. Like, you can't just, you can't just sit, like, you're in pain, you're over like that. You need a second to breathe, basically. So I finally get laid down on the bed, and then she says she can see the baby's head. Now, you tell me how you can go 15 minutes in between. Well, I'll give her half an hour to be generous. Like, half an hour in between from... I'm still making the same noises all the way through that I've been making, so obviously it's still going very, very fast. How I can be not dilated at all, how my cervix can be fully thick from being able to see the head and being like, she needs to be maternity suite. So thank God for that woman who knew how to do a job properly. Anyway, so here I am, all demonically possessed. I don't really remember that much from that part of the labour. Andy has filled me in on a few bits here and there, just because, I don't know, when you're in that much pain, it's like no information can enter your brain. So yeah, I'm just screaming the place down, literally screaming. I get wheeled over to room, and I'm wanting an epidural because I'm obviously in that much pain. But basically, both the anaesthetists were... Is that how you say it properly? Anyway, both them were in for a C-section, which is obviously way more important than, an epidural. So, yeah, I wasn't getting the epidural that day, so I was really freaking out. I mean, she said that I'd be getting it. She did she put all the needles and stuff into me that she needed to put into me, waiting for the epidural so that they could just sort of come in and get it done. But yeah, it just didn't happen that way. I was only in that room for about an hour or something, if that, before I gave birth. So yeah, I mean, all I can tell you about that one is that I was literally like hanging off the bed. I even at one point I was in that much pain that I literally stopped breathing, and I don't mean like my body like stopped breathing, like I forgot to breathe. And Andy were looking at me and he were like, breathe, Courtney. And I was like, like just breathing then. I did survive on gas and air. Like, normally gas and air does nothing for me, but that time it did kind of save me, just because I had nothing else, and it was actually, a lot better than, not having anything. Did help me through it. I didn't actually know that I needed to have the baby. I kept feeling like I needed to go to the toilet, and I said that to her, like, she was like, do you feel a need to push? I was like, yeah, I really need to go to the toilet, like, now. I wasn't going anywhere, obviously, I was on the bed. And she was just like, yeah, that's your baby, so you need to, you know, push when your body tells you to. And I'm like, well, it's not the baby, I need to have a poo, but I guess I'll just do it here on the table then. So I started pushing. Like I said before, you lose all your dignity. This is something I would never say. I mean, I've never even like farted in front of Andy, and we've been together 5 years this year, so you know. So sure enough, the midwife was right again. I did start pushing, and Amelia's head came out, and I just felt the need to keep, you know, to push and push and push. And she just like they tell you when to push. So, well, it's to stop you from like tearing and stuff like that. But yeah, she was just, her head came out, and then she was like, right, just do a little push now. I did a little push, and like, right, that's good, right, do a little push again. I tried to do a little push, I really did, but it just didn't happen. It just came out as a big push. So I was just like, I swore for like the first time, well, no, it's not the first time in front of my mum, but one of the fewer times in front of my mum. She didn't hear me anyway. And then yeah, Amelia just sort of fell out of me, shot out, which after 2 babies is not really a surprise. And when I say that, I don't mean like that downstairs doesn't go back to normal and stuff, because it really does. So don't worry about that. Especially if you do your Kegel exercises, which your midwives will go on and on and on and on about, just so that you're not weeing yourself for the foreseeable future. Anyway, so yeah, all that goes back to normal. It's just that obviously when you have had a couple of babies, or even one, when you've had a baby before, it is easier just to give birth. So like the first one might need pulling out, it might feel like there's loads of pressure, because mine did, and then the second and third, they just sort of slip and slide. So back to Amelia's birth. That was by far the best birth ever. There was no complications, there was no cord wrapped around her neck, there was no stopping breathing, and I think it's because I knew how to push, because I could feel my body telling me to push, that I had to push. So I think that's why like nothing really went wrong. So if you can, as a woman, as a really strong woman, not have the epidural, it'll probably be the best birth that you can possibly have, just because like I say, it's such a natural feeling. Your body sort of does all the work for you, but when you can't feel anything down there, you don't know where to push from. Like they always say push from your bottom, but obviously like as a woman, well, me as a woman, I always had a fear of like pooing, not on the last time like I say, because I was in that much pain, but yeah, it's a normal fear. But like with the epidural, when you're pushing, you just sort of don't know what area to push from. So like you kind of thinking, if I push from my bottom, I am going to poo. But like, oh, some people do, some people don't, and it's not a big thing. It doesn't matter at all, at all. It's not they haven't seen before a million times, so you don't have to worry about that. And yeah, basically like you do actually push from that area. I was always just pushing from my area, which would have been like, you know, a lot of a weaker push. So I do kind of, well, I don't feel bad, because it's not as if at the time I knew, but if I could go back and push from my bottom, I would have pushed from my bottom, just because that's the right way to do it, and it would have been a lot less like time spent getting it out, a lot less effort as well, because even though you're pushing from, like, it is obviously the right area, but when you're not pushing how you should be pushing, it's not going to move like it should move. It'll move a little bit, and that's why Cole came out without anyone's help, but it was a lot slower. Like he must have been in the birth canal for, you know, a couple of minutes, so that wasn't good for, you know, the phlegm. But yeah, after that, I mean, she was completely stress-free, she was perfect, she was everything the first 2 births should have been, but the labour was definitely the worst. Like I don't know if I would be able to put up with not having the epidural again. Like there are a lot of strong women out there that can do it, and I do know what area to push from now, so I'm hoping with that information that I'll be able to get the epidural and still have a good enough birth with no problems. And this time, considering there are no problems and I'm not in pain, like I'm in the right frame of mind to do it, I think with me like not knowing the sex, that I actually want to guide the baby out myself. Like obviously the midwife will be there, but I want to guide the baby out myself, so hold it, help it come out, and then I'll be able to see the sex for the first time myself. I just think that would be a really cool thing to do for the last time, because this is going to be the last ever time. That's everything about the first 3 labours. I mean, I am really, really scared for this labour just because I'm so scared that it's going to move that fast that I'm either like not going to make it to hospital, or we're not going to be able to get, you know, transport to look after kids in time, things like that. Just little things that I'm thinking, you know, probably every woman worries about, but I just know how much faster and how much more painful it is each time, so I am so dreading it. You think with you having kids before that like it'd get easier because you know what to expect and things like that, but it's not even like that at all. Like every birth's different. But for me, every labour, should I say, has definitely been worse. Like the pain, the pain. I don't know what I'm going to do. And my waters actually broke on their own whilst I was like walking through the hospital. Well, they were breaking all day, but whilst I was walking through the hospital, it was just like going everywhere. Well, not going everywhere, it was coming out of my shoe and everything. And I was just looking at Andy, he's holding me, he's like, it's all right, we need to get there. Like, it's all right. I'm like, okay. It was really good, bless him. So that's everything for this week's video, I think. I hope some of it was like informational for people. I hope some of it made you laugh. I shall look back and laugh at it now. Yeah, I think that's everything. So I hope you enjoyed watching. Thank you to everyone that is keeping up with the vlog. There'll be a new video every Tuesday unless something comes up where I can't video on the Sunday, then it'll be a little bit later, but I'll always let you guys know. Any suggestions would be great at this point, because I would like to know what interests you so that I can talk about something you specifically want to know, maybe about pregnancy, labour, birth, after, you know, when they're growing up, anything. And yeah, so I'll see you next week, guys. Bye.